Yeah, today's lesson is going to be about the Khazars, the fake Jews' involvement in the slavery of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You see the title of the book. We're going to go to page 213. We're going to start off. It says, the point of all this is that we now come to an issue not presented in any popular history of the Jewish people or any of the numerous books on anti-Semitism. Not a whisper or reference to it has entered our public school system, and it is simply that Jews were major participants in the genocide of American Indians as conquistadors, and were major participants in the greatest human tragedy history knows. No, not Hitler's Holocaust. The transatlantic trade in Africans as slaves. So we're going to get into this next book and show you how much involvement they had in that transatlantic slave trade. You see the name of the book here. It says the Jewish role in the enslavement of the African. This is part of the introduction. It says, throughout the history of the practice, Jews have been involved in the purchase and sale of human beings. This fact is confirmed by their own scholars and historians. In his book, A History of the Jews, Solomon Grazu states that Jews were among the most important slave dealers in European society. Lady Magnus writes that in the Middle Ages, the principal purchasers of slaves were found among the Jews. They seem to be always and everywhere at hand to buy, and to have the means equally ready to pay. Henry L. Fingal states that Jews who were frequently found at the heart of commerce could not have failed to contribute a proportionate share to the slave trade directly or indirectly. In 1460, when Jews were the masters of the nautical sciences in Portugal, that nation was importing 700 to 800 slaves yearly. Next page, the Jews' participation in the slave trade, particularly the trafficking in non-Jewish slaves, incited the moral indignation of Europe's Gentile population. So even other white people were saying to themselves, these people are savages when it comes to human trafficking and slavery. It says the Europeans reacted by taxing the Jews, and some were expelled from their host countries for this activity. The expulsion of Jews by European governments was not unusual, with most of the complaints centered around economic exploitation, monopolizing, or sharp practice. By 1500, with the exception of certain parts of Italy, Western Europe had closed its doors to Jewish people. The following listing is a partial record of the countries and dates of the Jews' expulsion from various European communities. So that's why Hitler had a problem with them for the same practices. Only he didn't expel the Jews, he burnt them in the Holocaust. Shalom.